All right, everyone. How are you? James Gardner here on this Thursday, early evening, or evening if you're on the East Coast. Early evening here in Vancouver, Greater Vancouver. I am coming on here today to share a few things to step you inside, all in with love a little bit. It's been a while since I've done that, and also to share. So, got some book signings coming up. So the the amazing journey that is releasing a book to the world is in full swing now, and it's taking yet another uncharted step this coming weekend. And it's kicking off with one of four Indigo Chapters book signing events I have here in Greater Vancouver. So in the notes on this post, you'll see that there are three on the mainland and one in Victoria. So the first one is kicking off this Saturday, September the 8th, between 11 and 4 p.m. at the Coquitlam chapters, which I want to share is ironic. As much of my story in the book is about these serendipitous events, of course, it would be the Coquitlam chapter's location because that was when I first moved up here. And the first place that I lived was on Mariner Way in Coquitlam. So I would spend a lot of time on the weekends walking through Chapter's bookstore. I'm one of those guys that loves bookstores. I had no idea I would be writing a book years later. And now I'll be finding myself going there, spending the day with what I hope is a lot of you. And today I wanted to start off by acknowledging the overwhelming support and encouragement I've received on this journey of being an author, and also writing a book that is a memoir, and writing a book that is transparent and full of anecdotal, amazing life moments, experiences, challenges, mistakes, failures, a few epic failures, and all of that woven into a storyline of getting back to my younger self. And it's a book that it's 408 pages. So this is not a I'm publishing a book, and all of a sudden in a month later someone's got a book out that they're celebrating. Mad love to them for that. This is not that type of book. This is a novel memoir, and I've been very fortunate enough to receive 5 professional reviews now. So 3 5-star reviews and 2 4-star reviews. I just received my first book award, which I had no idea, which I woke up and there it was in my inbox acknowledging me for writing skills, storyline, content, emotional depth of storytelling. So it's amazing. So first off, thank you for you. Yes. Epic challenges, Veronica. Yes, never a failure. I know the coach speak. Fail forward, life lessons. We all get that. It's true. And still failures in society. And that's what this book is about rewiring what we expect out of society and being at peace with what our labels and how we define things that serve us. Mary Beth, mad love to you. Congratulations. I hope to see you, MB, when I'm back east. We'll get the gang together. I know I'm always talking to Steve-O, so let's get together. Let's make it happen. And tell Jen, I don't know if you're in contact with Jen Corey, Mary Beth, but tell her I left her a message because I want to get to the NK Public Library and do an event there. I left her a message on Facebook. Pass it along. Mad love to you guys for everything, because here's the thing. I've amassed a great community. I've gone out, I've shared with you not only the 2 years of this book journey about that, but also in the terms of the work that I do in the world. And as a coach, as a speaker, I am transparent. and I am emotionally accessible. And sometimes people, that can be perceived by some coaches in the world as, a weakness, and never let them see a sweat mentality. And no, that's not how I roll. Yes, Mary Beth, thank you. That's not how I roll. I am about being real. And now the real thing that James Gardner is going to ask of you is, hey gang, I have a lot of people in Vancouver, and I would love for all of you to come and blow up these book events. Sure, I'd love to have you come and buy a book from Indigo. Sure, I'd love to sit there and sign a book for you from Indigo. And come and say hi. There's a lot of you that I know through Facebook, never met in person. Now is the time. There's a lot of coaches, a lot of like-minded warriors out there like myself. Now is the time. Let's elevate each other. So I'm asking, starting off this Saturday between 11 and 4, if you would come by the Coquitlam chapters and say hi. Take a photo. Let's converse. If you are buying a book, of course, I'd sign a book for you. For those of you that already have books, this is your chance also to bring a book into one of these locations and have it signed. Yes, Veronica, thank you. And I will make sure I bring your book. Absolutely. So this is your chance. This is my ask of you. I would love the support. And this is the first step before I go back east. And when I come back to Canada, though, the work's not done, because I want to take the Indigo of Vancouver, of British Columbia, or Vancouver, and expand that out, because I do want to go to Calgary. I want to go to Edmonton. I want to go to Toronto. So the bigger splash I can make at these Indigo locations here in Vancouver throws fuel on that fire to get me out there and to make this dream a reality. So that's my ask, and I'm going to remind you a couple times in this live today. Mary Beth, when are your book signings in Rhode Island? That is what I am. I get Post-it notes all over my desk. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I have the Middletown location of Barnes & Noble locked in. The Warwick location of Barnes & Noble, they're doing a reno. What's going to happen is they're going to order a bunch of books, and I'm going to go there and sign them, but we're not doing a book event. If that makes sense, because they can't because of the renos, but my signed books will be there. And then in Rhode Island, I'm trying to coordinate now an event at the North Kingstown High School, actually, where I will be speaking and obviously doing book signings there as well. And stay tuned, Mary Beth. I'm going to be in Mass, Rhode Island, Connecticut. I am going to New York towards the end of November for 3 or 4 days to do a few things there. So just be patient with Rhode Island. It's all coming together. And of course, this is also catching up with my community, my friends back east too, with meeting at a bar, bringing some books, signing them for people if they want books, going into Wickford, having coffee at the deli. Maybe the deli will be my home office away from home. So stay tuned. Thanks for that question though, MB. Yes, Vancouver, just to get back to Vancouver, gang, the plan is to get out there. Energy, momentum creates more momentum. So show up, share some love, and let's rock and roll. So what I want to do is I want to spend some time with you folks, for those people that are tuning in, tuning out, tuning in, however this finds you. I'm going to take you through the book a little bit. So some of you know, some of you don't know. All In With Love, My Journey to the Hero Within. The hero within is little Jimmy, is getting back to the true hero. In my life, I always associated the hero with the damsel or the knight that saves the damsel in distress, the guy that charges headfirst down the battlefield, the guy that saves the day, and a lot from movies I learned, and throughout the journey of the book and reconnecting to moments in my life, I realized that the true hero is little Jimmy in my world. The true hero is the inner child in all of us, because I think those are the strongest we've ever been when we were children. If that makes sense, because We were unfazed by people telling us we can't do things. We were unfazed by limitations in society. There were no judgments. There were no expectations. And all we did was play and create. And every day was an adventure. And every day was that sweet air of possibility, as I talk about. That's heroic shit right there, maximizing that day. And if we can get back to that and bring that into our relationships, into our business dynamics, into starting a business, into life, fuck, as adults, yeah, better off 100%. Don't tell me we wouldn't be. And that's why when I talk about getting back to the inner child, everyone connects. Everyone connects to the wonder of youth. And that's why this book needs to be read. And within it, yeah, so many life lessons. So the book starts out with a chorus, a throwback to my theater days and Shakespeare days, and with a little bit of prose, right? Consider, if you will, this story, a lifetime of roles of self-discovery on this stage of life. To be or not to be, for that is the question, yada, yada, yada. And then I go and I set up the scene, and then we go right into the Rhode Island arena. And if you're going to see the beginning of each arena, there is a constellation, and these are just stars. We don't know what they are, but these are stars that take shape over the journey of the book. And the first chapter is called The Captain's Chair. And this is the introduction of little Jimmy in New England circa 1976. And the first parts of the book, the Rhode Island arena, is about introducing you to little Jimmy and what it's like to be a child who is stricken with severe asthma, and his only escape is the refuge of make-believe and dreams, and the ability to lose himself in movies and to entertain others, first in the hospital wing, and then through people on his home street, Siddock Drive, and so forth. So this is a really nostalgic look into Wickford, Rhode Island, into growing up in New England in the late 70s, 80s, and that kind of Atlantic wind culture of seafaring and lobstermen and fishermen and quahoggers and all of that, and the simple times that form a lot of us, and getting into his wanting to be an athlete and his love of movies, and how everything starts to be, creating a fantasy world of what he thinks life is like because of movies, and the introduction of Star Trek to little Jimmy. And we move into high school and friends and high school sweetheart and learning about love, but also learning about this spark of curiosity and adventure of a warrior, just kind of in the embryo stage, but he feels called to expand, to hoist his sail and to go into uncharted lands. North Kingstown High School plays a good part in this arena. I for one loved high school. I know a lot of people out there, some people hated high school. For me, I loved it. If I could go back, I would go back to junior and senior year in high school. I really would. It was an amazing time. Relationships, girlfriends, that first kiss, and a sports thing, football. Just a little anecdote. I actually have the chapter here called The Paper Hero. I grew up with Roger Staubach on my bedroom wall, and I played football in the street, but I was never big enough or strong enough to play organized football. And so relate, Jolie. Yes, I loved high school. You know it, Jolie, because we had great music in high school in our age. That's why. We had school dances, we had music, we had fun. We didn't have this fear-based culture that is running rampant today, in my opinion. But I wanted to play football, but against my parents would lock me away because they thought I'd snap like a twig, and when they were correct. Anyway, I talk about how I joined the freshman football team, and in a kind of unheralded thing, that the lead quarterback got injured, and I as the second string quarterback got thrust into the game, and how we orchestrated our only win of the season with little Jimmy at the quarterback when I never played organized football in my life. And so some of these early moments of courage that I share, because those are things that form us. Getting into arguably a lot of people's favorite chapters in the book is when I go into college and I take up the sport of rowing. And the rowing chapters they're the shit, straight up. I can say it, and there's no ego there. The national championship race, everyone that I've talked to that's read it and talked about it to me has cried profusely during this chapter of the book. And, it was just a beautiful experience in my life. And I'll give you a little bit of a disclosure. When I moved to New York later on, Disney was interested in opting a screenplay that I had written called 9 Hearts. And we went around for a while. Ultimately, they did not pull the trigger on opting for it. But the story was there, and they were interested because of that story. And so I've taken that story, and of course, that because rowing is the single thing that has defined me in my life truly. I think everyone's going to, even people that don't know a shit thing about rowing, will fall in love with the sport in this book, because it does play a reoccurring theme throughout the book. We get introduced to Malcolm, my grandfather, the Scottish sage. The Scottish sage. What a piece of work. Always got a scotch in his hand. But I learned so much. I have it. So I have the end part of the Rhode Island Arena is called the Malcolm Suite. And it's a series of micro chapters about lessons that I learned from my grandfather and decisions that I made based on his guidance that spurred me on to further adventures. The reason why I pursued acting and moved to New York City was because of a conversation I had with my grandfather where he told me I belong on stage. And, in honor of him, I don't want to give away the last part of the Rhode Island Arena, because it's really powerful. I entered a modeling contest and a New England model and of the year, and I won. And before I know it, I was signed, and I was on my way to New York and chasing a dream, all because of a scotch-laden conversation. And, I share this in the podcast that I do, that, writing one's life story is a gift. And there's so many amazing memories, so many amazing doorways that open during the writing process to memories that we forget, to memories that are locked away. And it's such a creative thing to witness when you sit and you start creating, and then all of a sudden it sparks an open doorway to a memory that you had forgotten, and then all of a sudden there's more doorways that open. It's beautiful. And my reconnection to my grandfather was one of the most profound takeaways from this experience. I never realized how much I loved him. I've always been close with him, but reliving some of these memories have just been beautiful. And he spurred me on to New York. And again, we get into a chorus now that introduces the New York Arena, the Southern Lands. And again, this is the constellation that's starting to take shape. And just to give you an insight, in the Rhode Island Arena, Jimmy would find solace with his dad looking up at the constellations and thinking to himself as a young boy that, maybe he would take his place up there among the heroes of the night sky, like the Greek myths of old and so forth. And so, again, I've woven this in as I start to as Jimmy becomes Jim and starts to get older, that constellation begins to take shape throughout the story. And New York, the New York arena is Scorsese personified. We go from the oceanside beautiful landscape and stone wall landscape that is Rhode Island, and innocence, to street cred, to street hustle, to gritty. You got to make it in New York. You got to get down and you got to hustle and hustle in the concrete jungle. And so the tone switches, and I take people into the acting world, and I share some insights into the psychology behind actors in terms of bringing themselves into a character and creating a character, and then when what happens when the actor underneath is in turmoil over things in their life. How does that bleed or lead through the character? And so there's really good insights into that. I go into depth about a one-man show that I did for 9 months that ran off Broadway. It was the very first thing that I did in New York. And I take people into that. I also share some insight into the underbelly of the world too, in terms of, the casting couch and sleazy casting directors. Even males weren't impervious to this. It happened to me, where I found myself in a sticky situation, it was out there. So shedding some light on that. Failed relationships, not being good enough, being, the starving artist who ends up being involved with, a couple of celebrity style relationships where, I just wasn't at a certain level of my career that they deemed worthy enough, let's say, of where they were at that time. And the baggage that comes with that when you get kicked to the curb, and how that has formed me over the years as well. And it's, New York is a lot of brooding as an actor and stuff. And it's also, there were some amazing experiences. Rhode Island is where I found my identity. New York is where the man was shaped. That's what I say, through relationships, through an insight into the Yield Triple Inn. My first bartending gig, a little tavern on 54th Street that became my home away from home for 5 to 6 years or so that I was there, slinging drinks and building relationships with the regulars and everything. It was truly such a remarkable time. And I actually, again, in this writing process, I forgot how important that part was for me, the Triple N, the Yield Triple N specifically. And I give a shout out in the acknowledgments of my book to that time period, that bar, the owner and the regulars there, because, life is nothing without the currency of relationships. When I got through writing the book, I realized, I have lived because I've had such an enriched life of the currency of relationships. And it's been amazing to reconnect. And so acknowledging those moments has been really crucial for me. Murder, Chippendales. Yes, we go. Actually, it's Chippendales, then murder. Chippendales, yes, bow tie, cufflinks. Get an insight into what's that's like, and I take you through an epic fail, literally, in front of 250 screaming women, which is kind of definitely an entertaining chapter in the book for sure, and then into a friendship with what became one of the most notable murders in New York City history, of investment broker, a guy worth $95 million. My friend, who I need to do better check on my friends, but I was in the inner circle of this this murder, and what was that like, and finding out that a guy and his fiance, who I was both very close with, were involved in this murder. What was that like? And so I take people into that whole psychosis. What a ride that was. Yeah, and there's the music. Shout out to Jeff Tate from Queensryche. The boys from Dream Theater play a huge part in my life. And they're champion here in the book because music is part of this book. There is sonic undercurrents in every one of these pages. Every one of these 408 pages were written with music in the background. Not once ever did I write without a music that was scoring what I was writing at the time. And so I with my poetic kind of style of writing, I think you get a symphonic experience truly with reading this book. And then New York goes to LA and the travel west, and we continue on, and LA is where the death of the dream happens. And actually, hold that. Before I talk LA, I'm going to take a break here. And I'm just going to share that for anyone who's tuning in, catching this at the 26-minute mark. I'm sharing some insights, stepping inside, all in with love. I'm also championing my book signing tour that is happening starting this Saturday in Vancouver. The Coquitlam chapters between 11 and 4 p.m. Please, please, please come out, support, say hi. Of course, come pick up a book. I'll sign it for you. Absolutely. Early Christmas presents. You can order them. Wink, wink. And if nothing else, come by and say hi. It would just mean a lot to have the energy of people there. Let's put on a show, and let's create some energy about this story and this book. So this Saturday it starts off 11 to 4, Coquitlam chapters. The following Sunday, the 16th, I will be in Victoria, BC, at the Mayfair Indigo. I know I have a huge Victoria contingent. Friesen Press, who I worked with on this, a lot of their people are there in Victoria, so they're going to come out, and just mad love to all of you. Then the following week, we have back-to-back on Saturday. We have Saturday the 22nd, we have the South Surrey Indigo, which is kind of White Rock, South Surrey on 24th Ave there. I have a great event, 12 to 3. Got to remember all these, 12 to 3. And then Granville on the Sunday, Granville location, downtown Van there on that Sunday, I believe, 12 to 3 as well, or 1 to 4, 1 to 4 on that day. And hopefully getting into Robson too. I'm just waiting to see if the books are going to arrive in time. So right in downtown Van, hopefully it would be Robson Street as well before I leave for Rhode Island. So come down this Saturday, Coquitlam chapters, 11 to 4. All right. Los Angeles gang. We take a ride with Mr. Jim to Los Angeles. This is where Jimmy comes back in. Jimmy starts to get a little bit of an insight into what Jim is what Jim is going through while listening to the little voice of Jimmy in his head, sharing things. And so this is where destiny and fate is all working in the land of make-believe and Los Angeles, and the magic wand. Everywhere you go, someone has the magic wand and has that ability to grant you immortality, celluloid immortality, as I call it. Whether you're at the grocery store, the pumping gas, the coffee shop, you never know, because everyone next to you is somebody looking to climb the ladder, or somebody that is up on the ladder. So I share some insights into that, into what that's like, with some exchanges to celebrities. A lot of celebrity anecdotes here of people that I met, conversations, relationships too. There's a number of celebrities in this book that a couple that I would call relationships with. I mean, when you're calling somebody on a cell phone bi-coastally, back and forth, and that person's running script ideas by you, you have a friendship, and I don't take that lightly. So I share some insights into some candid conversations with some A-listers, if you will, and some serendipitous moments. Sir Robin Williams plays an important part, a very pivotal part in this book, and I don't want to give it away, other than I'm just going to share that casting directors always referred to me as a young Robin Williams. So I was always on that to kind of, you look like carousel. And B, he came into my bar lounge one night, and we had a series of exchanges that came back around at the pivotal end of the book, at the pivotal kind of heightened apex of a defining moment in my life. So, I get into Mr. Robin Williams, and Los Angeles. I also get married and meet my, settle down with my stunning, beautiful wife at the time, and try to negotiate having a real family, and what that's like when you're an artist, a starving artist, and what that's like, and ultimately, Los Angeles was the death of a dream. And, that's where in the book I say goodbye to little Jimmy. And, in a very powerful scene, saying goodbye to the dream, through a series of events that I thought, specific one event where I met a famous director, worked with a famous director, and I thought my ticket was punched. I really did. I thought everything, and it all did line up. I mean, if you take the 8 planets, poor Pluto, I'm going to say 9 planets because that's how I grew up. You take the 9 planets and put them all in a row, you think something's going down. And that's what happened in my life with a series of events, from a project, a screenplay that I wrote, to a business plan that I put together, to a director that I wanted to helm it, to direct it, to then booking a job with that director, and then going to the studio and being immersed in that world, and then not having it panned out was the nail in the coffin. And the only other option was planting my flag into real life. And when you try to show up at work, moving to Vancouver, when the dream is dead, life is pretty hollow. And when you don't have your inner child connected anymore, you start being unhappy, you start being unfulfilled, you start looking for external validation, association, and accreditation, and it's a rabbit hole. It's a whirlpool to self-destruction, and that's what Vancouver and Vancouver Island is. Here's the forming constellation of Vancouver. We get back into a lot of rowing in the Vancouver arena as I get back into the master's world of rowing and coaching and being a university head coach at Simon Fraser, and all of that, dealing with my parents aging, dealing with having 2 young kids when I don't know how to be a dad and not sure that I want to be a dad. A wife who I was growing distance from, we were just growing apart, and just feeling like a failure, culminating in a Vancouver Island arena and what I call the jungle. The jungle arena is where James emerges. James emerges and goes on a quest to get back to himself, to get back to the boy that he left before he went through the doorway to New York City. And what I've done in this arena is combined a lot of different elements of a lot of things from the first arena in terms of Jimmy's fantasy world, and bringing that in James's fantasy world as he goes back to find little Jimmy. So reoccurring things from different points in the book, whether it's Indiana Jones and E.T. or Star Trek, different movies, different elements from LA, different things like that. I built them into a blend of reality and fantasy as I deal with a failed marriage, as I deal with a failed fathership. That's a word. Whether I deal with a failed life at this point, and a start over. What does that look like? How do I find ownership? How do I find acceptance? How do I stand in my truth without causing collateral damage? How do I just honor me without listening to anything else? And so, it's probably the most creative part of the entire book that culminates into a pivotal moment, and then an aftermath of inspiration and peace, and going back to Rhode Island to reconnect with my folks and their health issues, and reconnect with my youth, and learning to never walk alone again in life. I truly believe that we are not destined to be alone. Some of us choose to be alone. However, if we truly are connected back to our youth, and that little so-and-so is with us, then we're never truly alone. And I think that's one of the magic secrets of this book, if I may be so bold, is to inspire you to get back to yours. So I'm going to come on record and just say in full transparency that this book is, This book is smart. This book is intelligent. This book is well written. It's creative. It's intriguing. It's witty. It's charming. It's full of every emotion in the book. There are times you are going to fall in love with little Jimmy. Well, you'll always love little Jimmy. There's times where you're going to fall in love with Jim. You're going to hate the man that is Jim. You're going to root for the man that is Jim. You're going to applaud the man that is James. You're going to champion the connection of James and Jimmy that makes this cover what it is. And you will be entertained. You will be moved. You will be moved. You will be shocked. You will be inspired. You will feel love. You will cry. You will cheer. You'll have deep conversations with your partners. You will have deep conversations with yourself. And you will live a better life because you read about a connection, a reconnection that you can put into your own storyline and make your life what it should be. So that's my little step inside the book off the cuff. Whoever's tuning in, whenever this comes in. So All In With Love, My Journey to the Hero Within is out worldwide. It is available at over 50,000 booksellers, online booksellers. It's in store at Chapters Indigo. It will be in store at Barnes & Noble. It's available at Barnes & Noble online. I think you can get it within like 4 days or something. It is available on ebook, Amazon everywhere, truly.com, .canada, UK, Australia. I had somebody in Germany buy it. South Africa. Yes, it's there. Obviously, Kindle, ebook, paperback, hardcover, Google Play, so Google Books has this. Apple Book has their own version as well. So it is out there in every format imaginable. The only thing it's not is an audiobook. I get a lot of requests. And I plan on doing an audiobook, not till 2023, probably not till maybe the summer of 2023 or late spring. The plan is to come back for the holidays after New England, then going to Los Angeles here in the dead of winter in Vancouver. We'll go down to Los Angeles, do that arena, that book tour down there, then come back when the weather breaks. So definitely going to do another circuit here in Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, working out west of Toronto. Then once that's done, maybe start working on the ebook because there are plans to go to the UK, which are being seeded right now. So stay tuned on that. But anyway, all this to say, gang, again, we are nothing without the currency of relationship of others. It's taken me better part of half my life to realize that and to own that and to acknowledge that, because I've never been the best at keeping in touch because I move on adventure to adventure. However, I understand that now, and that currency of relationships is also also my ask of you for support, to share content that you find valuable, to please spread the word, to come and support, meet me. There's so many of you that we talk on Facebook, and we are here to lift each other up and to be of service. This is an abundance mindset. I have a lot of coaches out there. We are not in competition. We are not. We are here to be of service, abundance mindset. So come on out. Let's meet. Let's see how we can support. I had my All In with Love playground conversation. Let's podcast. Excuse me. Let's riff on that. Come out and meet me. Let's dance in some communication, and then we'll book a podcast. I will support you. All I'm asking is to come out to these events, show some love. Come, just do a photo op with me. Say hi. Let's meet. Grab a book if it lands for you. Bring a book. I'll sign a book if you've already have one. And let's do this. One person, one conversation at a time. This book is going to get all over the world. That is my mission. This book will also be a screenplay. I'm saying that. I've said it once before online, live. I'm telling you, there are people that will make this into a movie. This is movie of quality. And let's make it happen. So I have a lot of my own celebrity contacts I'm going with, but there's a few in here that we're going to make some shit happen. So, and it all starts with you. And I'm harping on this because it's about my ask of you to spread the word, to show some support. All right. It's not about the sale. It's not about the sale for me. It's about getting this book out there in the buzz. I don't care. Ebook is just as good as this paper book for me. Coming to an event and just showing up and just having conversation is just as good as buying a book for me. All that feeds this machine. So, mad love to you. There it is on a Thursday. Thank you for tuning in. I just went off the cuff and started talking because I know people tune in and out. And I haven't been on in a while. So mad love to you. This Saturday, 11 to 4, it starts at Coquitlam Chapters. Please come by, check me out. You direct message me, blow up my inbox, whatever you need. Reach out. If people are actually reaching out because they want signed copies in the mail, DM me. I can make that happen as well. And mad love to you. All right, that's it. I am tuning out. And on behalf of little Jimmy and I, thanks for the love.